and welcome to my channel. On this page, I typically talk about technology and money. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. If you're new or if you're a returner, I just ask if you would be willing to like and share this video. Liking and sharing the video does two things. Number one, is you telling the algorithm that you find this information interesting, engaging, and helpful. And it also helps this content reach more people. So it helps, like, okay, like it's like you telling the YouTube algorithm, this content is good, it's interesting, and that you like it, and hopefully it encourages other people who may be interested in the same thing to like join the live or either come back and watch a playback. But today, so usually I talk about technology and money. I know we're running just a little bit behind. I just did a TikTok live, and folks, we were talking Stanley Cup finals and hockey season memories recap over there. And so today, I'm going to be talking about reliving the 2023 NHL Carolina Hurricanes season. If you all don't know, this is my first season as a hockey fan. I've been a hockey fan for all of 6 months, and I have learned a lot. We're going to talk a little bit Stanley Cup finals, just a little bit. And when I say a little bit, because the Stanley Cup finals actually come on tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I know a lot of folks, including myself, want to watch the game and check it out. So I hope for us to be able to get out of here before then. So if you want to leave a chat, the live chat is up. I'll be posting a link. Also, if people want to join and come up, this is my first time. This is not my first live stream, but this will be my first time like having people come up. If you want to come up and share your favorite, we got two things. Okay, let me go back to my little agenda. Okay, so we got two things. If you want to come up and share your favorite hockey season memory, whether you are a Carolina Hurricanes fan, Florida Panthers fan, Vegas Golden Knights fan, Toronto Maple Leafs, Boston Bruins, you can do that. And then if you have one tip for newbie hockey fans, if you want to share that as well. So y'all just, all I ask, if y'all just bear with me, because this is my first time inviting people to come up on a live stream. So I'm going to drop the link if you want to join and come up and share your favorite hockey season memory. You can do that if you also want to share a tip. But what I'll do is I'll just start talking a little bit about like how I found out about the sport of hockey, my favorite memory, which I have several favorite memories from the season, maybe a few tips for newbie hockey fans. We can do that. And then also, as you're joining or if you're watching the replay again, I just ask if you could like the live. Likes are free. Like I do have a Cash App. Sometimes folks ask me, "Oh, what's your Cash App?" I do have a Cash App, same name, ComputerandCoin. But if you don't want to do that, I just ask if you can like. The likes are free, right? It's just like pressing the like button, and then that's another way to help pay it forward and get other people watching the content. Now I'm going to turn a little fan on. Hopefully it does not interfere with the audio. If it does, just let me know. It's summertime. It's about to be summertime in the South. So I haven't turned my air off, so it's a little bit warm. So so how I got into just watching NHL hockey, and how about I just start there. And then so there is another creator here on YouTube. Her name is Mocha Mommy, and what she talks about usually on her channel is just encouraging women, Black women, white women, women of Asian descent, etc., people who identify to live your best life, level up, just encouragement around your finances. She's also really big into gardening. She also has like a gardening YouTube channel where she talks about growing her garden. But she is an MLB fan. She is a woman of color, but she is a Major League baseball fan. She is a huge MLB fan. She's based down in Texas. And so I think that's the Houston Astros. Y'all don't hold me on it, okay? So, but she did a YouTube live way back in I think November, where she was encouraging women, especially, around that time, the world was just starting to open back up. People was starting to go out, but she was encouraging women to get out and try different things, not always doing the same things, getting the same results. And she was like, well, if you've never been to, she was like, she's an MLB fan. If you've never been to a soccer game, or the European football game, if you've never been to an MLB baseball game, if you've never been to an NBA basketball game, if you've never been to a hockey game, a professional and I was like, just listening. It was a very encouraging show that she did. And I talked a little bit about that show. She encourages women of all races and ages to just do different things and live life a little bit different. I was like, oh, the world was opening back up. I'm in the Carolinas. Hockey is near me. I was like, I'm going to go to a hockey game. I had never been to a hockey game. I didn't know what to wear to a hockey game. I knew absolutely nothing about hockey. Nothing. I literally had to go on to Pinterest and I typed in Pinterest what to wear to a hockey game, because I just didn't know. But I went to that first game, that first Carolina Hurricanes game. I think it was in December. They played Pittsburgh. I saw a lot of people wearing jerseys. I saw a lot of I think it was Crosby jerseys. I was like, who is Crosby? Then I saw a lot of people wearing Svechnikov jerseys. I was like, why are these people wearing these shirts with people's names on their back? I just didn't know. Okay. So it was interesting. I went and I had so much fun. So yes. So welcome. If you're just now coming into the YouTube live, we're going to talk a little bit about, so our topic tonight is NHL Carolina Hurricane season fan memories. Whether you're not a Hurricanes fan, you could be a Boston Bruins fan, Seattle Kraken, an Avs fan, Edmonton Oilers, Ottawa Senators. Just asking people to share their favorite hockey season fan memories. We'll talk a little bit about Stanley Cup Finals. I'm gonna this isn't my first live stream, but this is my first time having people. If you don't have to, you don't have to come up, but if you would like to join me on the live stream, I'm putting a link now in the chat. If you would like to come on to the live stream and share your favorite hockey season fan memory, something from, and also a tip for anyone who is new, who may not know a lot about hockey and just kind of interested, you can do that now. This is, like I said earlier, this is my first time inviting people up. So I just asked if y'all could just show me a little bit of grace. I'm still figuring things out. I'm learning as I go, just like with hockey. So I dropped a link in the chat. If you don't want to come up, that's fine. If you want to leave a comment in the chat and say, if you're a Hurricanes fan, any type of hockey NHL team fan, what was your favorite memory from this 2022-2023 hockey season? I would love to hear it. I have several, but my purpose of this live is to just recap the season. I have a couple of notes, but also for folks who may be wanting to learn more or just don't know much about hockey, wanting to learn, just sharing some tips and encouragement and just having fun as we're getting ready for the Stanley Cup Finals, which come on in less than 2 hours. So we're not going to be on here 2 hours because y'all see, I'm already ready for the game, even though the Hurricanes are not playing tonight. I'm ready I got my snacks. We ready over here. So we won't be on here 2 hours tonight. But if you have a favorite memory, drop it in the chat. But I will say, and another reason why I'm doing this is I was at yoga. For those who don't know, I love doing yoga. It helps with just different things. And at yoga this week, a couple of girlfriends said, I was like, hey, how's hockey going? Because they know I've been going to a couple of hockey games. And they were just asking me questions. And then I realized, based on the questions that they were asking, I was like, people, they were interested. I was like, okay, well, why don't I do a little live stream where folks can share their favorite memories and give tips about if you're a new fan and interested, what you would share with someone who may want to learn more about the sport. So I do want to if you don't know about the team, so Carolina Hurricanes are based in Raleigh, North Carolina. For those who don't know, Rod Brindamore is the head coach. He did just lose his dad 2 days ago. The team did not make it to the East. Did not make it to the Stanley Cup final games. They got in round 3, game 4. They had, I wouldn't say they got swept, but the Florida Panthers won all 4 games of that round. So now the Florida Panthers and the Vegas Golden Knights, they're going to be playing the first, they're going to be playing round game 4, the finals of game 1 tonight. So we do someone hello from just outside Cleveland, Ohio. Go Canes. Are you a Canes fan? Matt, are you a Canes fan, or are you is there a team in Ohio? I don't know if there's a team. I don't think there's an NHL team in Cleveland, Ohio. Let me see. So I'm going to, and as you're coming in, I see we have a few people watching. As you're coming in, I just ask that if you could just like the live. There is a like button. If you can like it, liking. And also sharing the stream does 2 things. Number 1, it is you telling the YouTube algorithm that you find this content interesting, engaging, helpful. And then number 2, it encourages me to continue creating content and thinking of things to come live about. Okay, so I'll share. I don't see anyone wanting to come up. Again, let me drop the link in the chat. Now, again, I will say this is my first time inviting people up. So if you're in the back room waiting to come up, let me know that in the chat. All right, so I'm going to drop the link in the chat. I can't see, I just want to, I can see, but I don't, again, because this is my first time inviting people up. So if you're in the, what they call the back room waiting to come up, just let me know so I can know to go check somewhere else. But anyway, I'll share my first memory when I first went to that Carolina Hurricanes game, and what kind of hooked me a little bit. It was, I remember when I first of all, I didn't know what to wear to a hockey game. I just knew that the colors of the team were red and black. I was like, okay, I'll wear a red sweater and I'll wear a black sweater, make sure I dress warm because that's what everything said. But when I first walked into the arena, it was so loud. And people, the energy, I could feel the energy, and it just felt so exciting. And people, I went to that first game by myself because my girlfriend's like, a hockey game? I want to go to the hockey game. I was like, that's fine. It was loud. It was exciting. Now, I did get to that first game late because I just didn't know puck drop was at 7 p.m. So, and I didn't know where the Canes Arena is in Raleigh. I didn't know how traffic was. I'm not too familiar with the traffic and things in that part of the state. So it was right before rush hour. So I didn't know. I was sitting in traffic at puck drop. So when I got there in the middle of the first period. So when I walked in, it was so loud. It was cold, but it was so loud. I could literally feel the energy, and it was so exciting to me. I was like, oh my God. Went to my seat, watched the first period, just kind of taking things in. But it was at the start of the second period, because that's the start of the second period to me was like restarting the game, because I came in literally in the middle of the game, and I saw Peter Kochetkov walking down the players tunnel. So Carolina Hurricanes, some teams, I don't know if all NHL teams do this, but some teams, what they do is they have cameras in the players' locker room or in the tunnel. So you can see the players as they're getting dressed and getting ready for the next period or for the start of the game. And then you can see the players walking down the tunnel. But what got me when I saw, because again, I came in the middle of the game. But when I saw and that's when Peter, and I didn't know anything about AHL teams and trading players back and forth. But what kind of really got my attention was seeing Peter Kochetkov in all of his goalie gear. And I guess, is that the thing, y'all, for the goalies to always bring the team out? I've seen it like I saw it like at an Islanders game. I saw it at a Caps game when I went to a Caps game. But when I saw Peter Kochetkov coming down that players tunnel, leading the team and all of his gear, his goalie gear, and the rest of the team just kind of coming up, and then they had like the music playing, I was like, oh my God, this is kind of exciting. And then the pace of the game was just so fast and so thrilling. I didn't know what I was watching, but I knew what I was watching was very thrilling. So okay, so Columbus Blue Jackets lived in Raleigh from 2005 to 2019. Okay, so are you still a Blue Jackets fan, or are you a Carolina Hurricanes fan, or are you a fan of both? That's fine to be. So Madison Square Garden, that's interesting. It's interesting that you say that, Mark, because I have talked to some Canes fans. I've gone since 6 months. I've gone to like a couple of watch parties, and again, Caniacs have been so welcoming and so encouraging. Caniacs and hockey fans of other teams have just kind of like taught me a lot and sent me a lot of encouraging messages. But your comment here about how you were treated at Madison Square Garden, one of the Caniacs that I see the NHL just went live with their pregame show. So I get like the notifications. I don't know if y'all get the notifications again. So we won't be on all night because I do want to watch the game tonight. But you say something real interesting, Mark, because anyway, I was a Caniac who was going to Long Island for the Islanders game. And they said that when they were going to go to that Islanders game, that they were not going to wear Hurricanes red. And I said, well, why not? And they were like, well, I'm going to wear a Carolina Hurricanes jersey. They had like a Carolina Hurricanes jersey that's like camo and green and things like that. It still says Canes, but it's not like the red. And I was like, well, why aren't you going to red? I just thought that again, because y'all know I'm still learning. It's my first season. And they was like, oh, I would never wear Carolina Hurricanes red. And I forget which arena the Islanders play at. And they said, I would never wear Hurricanes red at Islanders arena, just for how people may treat me, and just hostile. I was like, for real? Now, I did go to a Caps game. I went to like a Bruins game. I went out of town to also to Buffalo. I went to a Sabres game. I didn't wear this red because I just got this sweater. I got that sweater afterwards. But it's just interesting how other teams treat like fans. So treat visiting fans. So if you're just joining the live, welcome. Tonight we're talking Carolina Hurricane season fan memories, doing a recap. If you want to share your favorite fan memory from this year's hockey season, whether you are a Hurricanes fan, Boston Bruins, Ottawa Senators, Buffalo Sabres, etc., you can drop it in the chat. If you want to join, like come up on the live stream with me, you don't have to turn your camera on because I know some folks may want to do camera off. That's fine as well. You're welcome to do that. I'm going to be dropping a link in the chat. I'm gonna drop this link in the chat. If you're in the back, what they call like the back room, let me know, because this is not my first live stream, but this is my first time like inviting people up to like join me on the live stream. So I don't know if there's gonna be like a notification or something that I can see, or if I need to go somewhere and like look. Okay, so that was one of my favorite memories, one of my first favorite fan memories. If you have a favorite fan memory from the 2022-2023 hockey season, whether it's the Hurricanes, you're a Hurricanes fan, Boston Bruins, drop it in the chat. If you don't want to come up here on the live stream, that's fine. I can read them out and then also post them up here. But again, that was one of my first favorite fan memories, was watching Peter Kochetkov like come down and the Hurricanes come down that fan tunnel, and then this the pace of the game, right? And again, I was learning as I go. I was like, oh, each period is only 20 minutes. It's a fast-paced game. And it just hooked me from there. I went to a couple of more games, and yeah, so we're going to be very informal. Oh, we got 5 people watching. That's so exciting to me. Welcome to everybody. Whether you're coming up here or not, you're always welcome. All I ask is just people stay respectful in the chat and things like that. So one thing I would say, a tip for people who, if anybody's watching who's never been to a hockey game or don't know about hockey, I am a Hurricanes fan because I'm based in the Carolinas and I can get to Hurricanes arena like in a couple hours. Like, it's not a bad drive. One of my tips I would give to someone who maybe want to like just learn more, go to a game. And if NHL, National Hockey League, for those who don't know, NHL means National Hockey League. If an NHL ticket is not accessible to you, I have learned that just people telling me, like leaving helpful comments on TikTok and also on Twitter, that there's also an AHL, that's the American Hockey League, that's like the league below the NHL. But don't think just because it's like minor league hockey that the players aren't as good. And then there's also ECHL. Okay. So, and that's the league that is below the AHL. And I've gone to both an AHL game as a new fan, and also an ECHL. Those players to me are just as good. The AHL game that I went to, team that I went to check out, I went to Chicago and checked out a Chicago Wolves team. That was very intentional because the Chicago Wolves are the AHL affiliates to the Carolina Hurricanes. And I learned, like, after I think like the first or the second Canes game I went to, Peter Kochetkov, like that first game I went to, Peter Kochetkov was goalie. And then maybe like a week or two later, they sent him back down to the Chicago Wolves because I think Auntie Ranta, either Freddie Anderson or Auntie Ranta, had just come back from an injury. And I was like, oh my God, they sent Peter Kochetkov down to the Chicago Wolves. And somebody was like, that's just how it is. I was like, they were like, each team only needs 2 goalies. So now that this other player is back from healing, they just send Kochetkov back down to the AHL, to the Chicago Wolves, because that's like it's like the feeder team, like how MLB has like feeder teams. And they were like, they can send players back and forth. Like Jack Drury is a Chicago Wolves player that got pulled up from the Chicago Wolves to help the Carolina Hurricanes in their Stanley Cup run. So if an NHL game, for anyone who's new, like I learned that you can go to an NHL game. You can get a ticket during the regular season for about like $70. I think between $50 and $70 if you sit up a little bit higher. Of course, the closer you are down to the ice, just like basketball and other teams, the tickets get a little bit higher. If that's not accessible to you, AHL, American Hockey League, and also ECHL tickets, I have learned their prices are much more accessible. When I went to that Chicago Wolves game, I got a seat like literally on the first row at the ice, and I think my ticket was like maybe $40 or $50. I bought that ticket way in advance. And that ECHL ticket I think was like $30. So go to one of those minor league games and check out some of those players. And just so you know, and I learned that you see those AHL and ECHL players, they may sometimes make it up to the NHL, just like Kochetkov did. Jack Drury, Sawchenko from the Chicago Wolves, he got called up by the Carolina Hurricanes to help them with their Stanley Cup run. There was also, I think, Panamarov, and I may be mispronouncing his name. So yes, definitely try to check that out for like newer fans who may not be as comfortable like going to an NHL game, or you feel like the tickets aren't as accessible, or just maybe a little bit intimidating. Because I'll be honest, when I went to that first NHL game that Carolina, I did not know a thing. I didn't know what to expect. I just didn't know anything. I didn't know if hockey was going. I was like, is anybody going to be there that looks like me? You know what I'm saying? When you just don't know and you're going to an unfamiliar environment, you know, you just don't know, but you step out of your comfort zone to do something different. Okay, so let's check out some comments. Matt says, Stadium Series with my 2 kids was something I would never forget. That is a wonderful fan memory. Thank you for sharing your memory about the Stadium Series. So if anybody's watching who doesn't know about like NHL, AHL, anything about hockey, there's also women's hockey and there's also kids hockey. But the Stadium Series is a game that the NHL, and I'm talking slow, y'all, because y'all know I've only been a hockey fan for 6 months. So I try to be intentional and think about what I'm saying. But for those who don't know, the Stadium Series is a game that the NHL like sponsors every year. They pick one NHL team, National Hockey League team, one team per year to host a very special outside game. And this is hockey that is played outside because like all the NHL teams, they have like arenas, like dome covered arenas like inside. But the Stadium Series is this very special game that they only do, like it's very special. And for an NHL team to be selected to host a Stadium Series is such a big deal, y'all. This year, the Stadium Series game was selected and hosted by the Carolina Hurricanes in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm a Hurricanes fan, so I was able to go to the Stadium Series, but I learned a lot leading up to that. So this year, the Stadium Series, Carolina Hurricanes played the Washington Capitals. And that's the Washington DC's hockey team. And it was so special. Matt, if you could share anything else in the chat. Matter of fact, for those who are just learning, I'm going to drop a link in the chat. If you want to come up on the stream, you can do that. And if you're sitting in the back room, let me know that as well. Because this is not my first live stream. This is my first time inviting people up. So I don't know if folks may be sitting in the back room waiting to come up. But yeah, Matt, if you can share anything else about your favorite memories, I can read them. If you don't want to come up, I can read them from the chat. But Stadium Series, there's one other comment I want to catch here from Dark and Lovely. Because I see her on a lot of Mocha Mommy's live streams, and Mocha Mommy was the woman that the other YouTuber that I talked about earlier, that with her encouragement, talking about just women of all types, just doing things differently and stepping out of the comfort zone. Mocha Mommy is an MLB fan. Like she talks a lot, has talked a lot in the past about, like, I think she's based in Texas. So I think that's what the Houston Astros, but with all her courage, it got to the point where she was doing just different streams and doing different things with, they were bringing her in, the MLB was bringing her in to do like focus groups and things like that. So what Dark and Lovely says is interesting. Hey, Dark and Lovely, thank you for joining the stream. Because I know you usually join for my nursing and tech and money content. So she says she's not a hockey fan, but you have interested me in going into a game or two next season. Dark and Lovely, I definitely encourage you to do that. I went to that Carolina Hurricanes game. I didn't know nothing about hockey. I had to go to Pinterest to say what to wear to a hockey game. I literally just bought a ticket and got colors. Matter of fact, I posted a TikTok after that game and people were like, "You don't have on a team jersey?" And I'm like, well, I'm still learning. Just go. And if an NHL game, like a team or a game, is not accessible to you, you can also check out, there is a league called the AHL, which is the American Hockey League. It's like the minor league team that's below the NHL. And there's also the ECHL. And just because those are like minor league players, it doesn't mean like those players aren't as good as NHL, because each NHL team has an AHL team, like a feeder team, but kind of like how they do in baseball. Like, for example, the Carolina Hurricanes is an NHL team, and their AHL affiliate is the Chicago Wolves. Well, it was the Chicago Wolves. They talked about maybe ending that relationship. I think the Chicago Wolves want to be independent and not affiliated, but like there's like the Charlotte Checkers. I think they are the AHL affiliate to Tampa Bay. Y'all may be saying something incorrect. Let me know if I misstated it. But check out one of those minor league games. And what you'll find, Dr. Lovely, is sometimes those minor league players get called because they're good. I mean, they're just as good. They may not be as famous and as well known as the NHL players, but oftentimes they get called up to the NHL. Like, for example, if you weren't here like for the Carolina Hurricanes, their AHL affiliate was the Chicago Wolves. Peter Kochetkov was the goalie for the AHL. He got called up from the Chicago Wolves to play. Zach Salchenko. I think I don't know if he's a forward or a defenseman, but Salchenko was the Chicago Wolves minor league player, got pulled up. Panomorov. So those players, Jack Jury, they get called up to like play in the NHL. So going to those minor league games makes the tickets are more accessible. They're just as fun. I went to an AHL game, Chicago Wolves. I went to an ECHL game in Norfolk, Virginia. That's the Norfolk Admirals. I had so much. When I tell you, I had so much fun. I had so much fun. So I do have somebody backstage. Oh my goodness. So how do I pull some? Okay. I got you. Okay. So we do have someone coming up. Now I'm going to ask you, I have a little fan. I have a little fan going. Is that fan like bothering y'all with the I'm about to bring you up, Matt. Just bear with me. Is that fan? Can y'all hear that? Is that bothering the audio? Hopefully it's not. Y'all just let me know. Okay, so we do have somebody who wants to come up and share. Let's see. Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Hey, look at that. Technology.
We're technology. This is not my first live stream. This is my first time bringing up a guest. So welcome. So our topic tonight, we're recapping, reliving the NHL 2023 Carolina Hurricanes season. Inviting people to share their favorite fan memory. And then also, if you have a tip for a new fan like Dark and Lovely, she has been a subscriber on my channel for a while, but she's never gone to a hockey game. So what is your favorite fan memory? And then if you have like a tip for a new hockey fan or someone who may be interested in not, and what would you say to encourage them to check out a game?
I mean, there's so much. I mean, I'm 51 years old. I've been a fan since I was 8. So the NHL experience, especially live in a barn, is so different than what you'll see on TV. Like watching a game on TV compared to being in an arena, there's no comparison. So I would definitely recommend, if you get into arena, for the first couple of games, I would actually tell people to sit higher than sit lower. Because when you sit low, you can't necessarily see the play develop like you can from up top. It's much easier to follow the play, see the line changes and things like that from up in the higher seats, and they're actually cheaper as well. So it's not quite as costly in the wallet. But I mean, especially in the NHL arena, that would be my recommendation, is to actually sit, if you can get that upper bowl, the first 10 rows in the upper bowl of most NHL arenas, that's a really good spot for your first couple games to actually see the play, watch the play, and learn what's going on the ice.
So you said, what's a barn? Because the first time I heard someone said a barn, they was like, oh, the barn at I think Calgary Flames. I was like, oh my God, they're actually playing hockey in a barn. Can you explain what a barn is for people who may not know?
Barn would be a hockey term for an arena. It's an old school hockey term for an arena, any place where hockey's played. And it can be the local hockey rink. A lot of times we'll get, it's called a barn.
Okay, great. So are you a Carolina Hurricanes fan, or are you a fan of another team?
Nope. I've been, when I moved to Carolina, I was going to be a Canes fan, and even though we since moved back to Ohio, I have stayed true to Carolina. So like I said, since we've been back here, I've gone to see them 4 times in Columbus, and then we've made a couple regular trips back to Raleigh to see the team.
Okay, very good. Anything else you would say about? Now, are you going to be watching the Stanley Cup Finals tonight? The first game comes on tonight in about an hour and a half.
I'm gonna at least watch some of it because it normally takes me a series for when the Canes get eliminated before I can really start fully just being involved and watching again. But with it being the finals, I'll definitely at least watch the first game. I haven't missed a cup getting skated, since I can remember as a kid. So I will definitely make sure I watch whatever ends up being the last game, so I can make sure I can watch the cup get skated, because that's also an amazing experience. No matter, even if you hate the team that ends up winning the cup, you can always find a guy or two that you're happy is getting that opportunity, and watching the joy on their face when they lift up the cup for the first time is a pretty cool experience too. So I definitely will watch that for sure.
Okay. And if you're just now joining the live, welcome. We're talking tonight's topic. We're just reliving 2022-2023 NHL Carolina Hurricanes season fan memories. You don't have to be a Carolina Hurricanes fan to share your favorite memory. I'm welcoming folks if you want to join the stream and share your favorite fan memory from this hockey season. You're welcome to do that. You can do it in the chat, or I'll share a link in the chat. You can come up on the stream, up on the stream, just like Matt. And you don't have to turn your camera on if you don't want to. That's fine. And if you don't want to come up at all, if you do have a favorite fan memory from this hockey season, leave it in the chat, and I can share it right here on the screen. And then also, if you are an experienced hockey fan and had something you wanted to share to someone who may be interested in learning about hockey, not quite sure about it, kind of like, well, what is it? What would you share with them? Like any encouragement and things like that. And if you haven't, I just ask if folks can like the video. Liking and sharing the video is free. It helps this content get out into the algorithm. Is you like telling YouTube this information is interesting, engaging, and helpful, and then it encourages me to keep curating content. So, Matt, what do you think? Vegas in 4, Florida Panthers in 5.
I mean, I want to see Vegas, I think, win after what Florida did Carolina, but at the same time, they took out Boston, they took out Toronto, and they took us out. It seems like they might be one of those teams of destiny, like St. Louis was a couple years ago, when they went from towards the bottom of the league standings and then got hot at the right time and ended up winning the cup. I think they might be that type of a team. So I think I'm not going to vote against Florida this year, and I'll take them in 6 so they win it at home.
Yeah, Bobrovsky is kind of. I saw someone maybe like a week or two was saying, they said before the finals, Bobrovsky couldn't block a beach ball. Now he's blocking everything, and I'm like, it don't matter what happened before the finals. He's blocking everything now. He's like lights out.
Yeah, he went on one of these runs back in 2013 when he was playing with Montreal then, and he did it for Columbus too when he played for them. But he did it for a series and then kind of came back to earth. And now I think if Florida wins it, he's probably going to be the Conn Smythe Trophy winner, which is the MVP at the playoffs. I think that's the road that if Florida wins, I think it would be him that would get the Conn Smythe, or Tkachuk. Those would be the two leading candidates. I mean, how many backbreaking goals Tkachuk scored against us was unbelievable.
Yeah, now because again, I'm still learning as these players' names were being announced, and I'm watching the finals. I didn't realize that Tkachuk was a legacy. Like his dad was like a legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played for. No, boy, now I'm drawing a blank on a team. I think he was with, Winnipeg maybe when he first started, and then went down with Arizona, if I remember correctly. But
yeah, so I know they on ESPN, whatever channel I was watching the game, they showed his dad, and I was like, well, who is this guy? They keep showing his dad. But it's really interesting in talking about legacy, or talking about, I guess, like hockey parents. I went back, I think it was either you or Mark that was talking about the Stadium series. I didn't realize that the NHL did a behind the scenes of the Stadium series. So I went back and I watched it like 2 days ago, and they showed a lot of Brett Pesce's dad. Did his dad play? Was his dad a player?
I don't know if he did, or I don't think he played in the NHL. I think he may have played, but I don't know if he ever made it up to the NHL, and I can't recall. I don't recall him, but that doesn't mean he didn't.
Yeah, that I just noticed. I was like, they showed a lot of Brett Pesci's dad in that documentary. So welcome to anyone who's just joining the live stream. I see we have some folks coming in and out. Excuse me, Matt, you're more than welcome to stay up. We can keep talking. If anybody else wants to come up, there is a link in the chat. If you are new to the chat and you don't see the link, if you want to come up and share your favorite fan memory from this hockey season, or your predictions for the Stanley Cup Finals, or any tips for new fans. So for next season, Matt, are you going to be doing like any season ticket purchases, or are you going to do like one-off games?
Yeah, with us living in Cleveland, I can't do the season tickets for the Canes, but I will do the same thing. We'll probably go down to see them for Columbus, and my son lives up here with me, and then my daughter's down in the Raleigh area, so we'll at least get to one game in Raleigh, and then we pick a city every year that we're going to go to besides for Columbus to try to see the Canes if it's on a weekend game. So we'll see once the schedule comes out. Like I'd like to. Detroit's not a bad drive for us, so we might get up to Detroit because we haven't been to the new arena yet. I've been to the old arena, the Joe Louis Arena, which is that one was definitely what would be considered a barn. Some of the older arenas have that style, and I think you're one person who's talking about going to Charlotte Checkers game. Where the Charlotte Checkers play, that is definitely an old school hockey arena. So that'll have that barn feel to it too. It's some of the old school arenas are just different and neat because they're smaller and louder and it's fun. So yeah, so I'll definitely get to a few games next year, but it won't be as a season ticket holder.
So though you said an old school arena, they're smaller because they're smaller, they're louder and things like that.
Yeah, they're just different. Like and a lot of them, unfortunately, especially the NHL, have gone away. Like old Chicago Stadium was one of them. In Detroit, Joe Louis Arena was another one where the Islanders used to play. Even what was nicknamed the Igloo in Pittsburgh before their new one. Where Maple Leaf Gardens. They just they're older. There was a lot of nostalgia in the buildings too, which you don't have now in some of the newer ones that they've built. But they're still good arenas, and obviously you can still have a good time in all of them. But I still like to see some of the old school ones when I can.
I went to a Norfolk Admirals game in Norfolk, Virginia. They are the ECHL affiliates, at least for right now, for the Canes. And when you said old school arena, you describe some of those characteristics. I think the Admirals have an old school, to me, because the arena was still just as good. They play at a Scope Arena, but I could definitely see like some wear and tear. It just wasn't as shiny as like PNC Arena or the arena where the Caps play, or like the teams that I've been to. But it was loud and I had fun.
Yeah, the East Coast Hockey League games because especially with those, you have a lot of the younger kids. There tends to be a lot more fights in the East Coast Hockey League games than even the American Hockey League. And some people like the fights. So if you like the fights, I would definitely recommend an East Coast Hockey League game. They tend to be a lot more feisty on the ice than the AHL.
You're right, and they. And I noticed with that ECHL game that I went to, the fights, the refs didn't call the roughing and the holding penalties and the cross-checking penalties like they would in the NHL. That's what I just noticed. I was like, look at all this roughing and this holding and this cross-checking going on, and these calls aren't being called that would be called like at an NHL game. So
yeah, you get. I mean, similar, just like with the players, in the ECHL and the AHL, you have younger officials in the ECHL too. So you got a lot of guys learning how they've either come up through juniors or USA Hockey or through the Canadian Hockey Association, and they're learning how to call the professional game too. So it's different for them, just like it is for the players. There's a big difference from going from juniors to the East Coast League to the AHL to then, of course, the NHL, even for the officials.
Yeah, and we got a comment that says the barn experience makes me excited. It is a lot of fun, and that's one thing I did not expect as a new fan. Was I didn't know how the teams engage with the fans, but also like families in the community and even between periods, which makes the experience more exciting and more fun. Like they have like, of course, like the mascots, but just like different things, right? So it's not just the game, it's also just like the total fan experience, whether it's putting people up on the big screen, whether it's inviting fans to do certain things, inviting fans to come down to the players tunnel, things like having the mascots come to your seats. It just makes the whole fan experience. So do you have, Matt, any like favorite like fan experience, like when you go to a game, whether it's NHL, ECHL, AHL, something that really makes the fan experience special to you?
So yeah, I mean, well, with the games at PNC, of course, obviously it's the tailgating. I mean, that's getting there early, and it's funny because I brought last year we went to a Caps game, and I brought one of my friends from DC who was a Caps fan, and yeah, I talked to him about look, it's a different type of experience in Raleigh with the tailgate and stuff, and he was blown away by it because he just it's unique for NHL cities where Raleigh has such a great advantages. Most NHL arenas are built either right in downtown or they just don't have the capacity to have the tailgating like what we have. And that experience in and of itself going into the game is just, I remember when I went to my first Canes game when we first moved there, and I was like, what the heck is this? Like, this is awesome. Like, normally you just like used to go to games in DC and it was you take the Metro in, you get off, you go into the arena, and that's it. And when that first game in Raleigh, it's just like, it's something unique in the NHL. There's just not a lot of cities that can do that.
Yeah, that's one thing I enjoyed when I went to the Sabres game. The metro, the train literally drops you off right in front of the arena. And like within like maybe like 3 or 4 miles of the arena, all the hotels is like free to ride the city transit. And when I say the city transit drops you off in front of the arena, it's like you step off of the train and like cross the tracks, you're like at the arena's front door. So it just makes, get into it. But I know different cities with like layouts and planning and things, it makes it a little bit more challenging. So yeah. Okay. So yeah, y'all, let's see, puck drop for the Stanley Cup Finals is about an hour and 15 minutes. I know a lot of folks want to like watch the pre-games and things like that. Welcome to the folks, anyone who just joined. I know folks are like coming in and coming out, and that's fine. If you have like a favorite hockey season fan memory, you can drop it in the chat. If you want to come up here like Matt did, you're welcome to. Or if you just want to leave it in the chat, I can bring them up on the screen. Or if you have any encouragement for someone who wants to check out a hockey game, or just like interested in learning more, anything that you would want to learn, we're going to wrap up here in the next few minutes. So I did go live on TikTok right before this, and it got kind of lively over there. People were talking about Stahl and the Stahl brothers and things like that. But yeah, we're going to wrap this stream up here in a few minutes. But before you go, Matt, if you don't mind, if you don't mind sharing, one thing I did want to touch on was the 2023-2024 season. Right? I know it hasn't started yet. I know we still got to get through the draft. Again, I'm still learning all this stuff. But what are you looking forward to in the 2023-2024 season?
Well, I think especially for the Canes, this coming year is the year. A lot of people were upset that they didn't make a big move at the trade deadline, and I was kind of okay with them going with what they had. I thought they had a roster that could have done it, and yeah, that the Svetch injury definitely changed that, and Patches only getting 5 games in before he blows out his knee. I think this is the year that they gotta go all in, because you got more contracts coming up with Aho and Pesci and Shea after the 23-24 season. So I think they need to get, first thing is they're going to have to figure out who's going to go with Piotr in goal, because I don't think he's ready to be the guy. I think they still need either, and if it's Freddie coming back, that would be great. Or if they go out and get, like a Gibson from Anaheim's the free agent going into this year too. So I think they need to get a goalie, and then they got to find another what Patches was going to be. They got to get a guy that can go down low and get the dirty goals, because we got a lot of shots from the outside coming from the D, and that's great if you got guys that can constantly be down low to get the puck. And I just don't think we have enough guys that get to the what's called the dirty areas, which is that, the areas in between the goalie crease and the two circles for any newbies here. That's what's called the dirty area. A lot of those goals there aren't pretty, but they count just as much when the red light goes on behind the net. And I think that's what we really need to get. And then obviously we got the hole in the 6D spot too, where we got Gostisbehere. And I'd like to see him come back. I'd be very cool for seeing him come back, but I think he's gonna want more term and more money than what the Canes are gonna be wanting to offer. What's gonna be the 6D? So that's gonna be interesting to see too, who they get to be the 6th guy, because the other 5 are all set for next year. So that's my thoughts.
Wow. Thank you for coming up, being my first guest ever. Not my first live stream, but you are actually my first guest ever. So,
and a shout out to you, by the way, because watching the season through you has been so much fun as a hockey fan. I love seeing new hockey fans get engaged in the sport, and how you've taken it on and done all the videos that you've done have been really, truly fun to watch. And so I want to say thank you for doing that, because as a longtime hockey fan, seeing it through a new fan's eyes is always amazing, and I love it. So keep up the good work that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate your encouragement. I definitely appreciate all the Caniacs and just different. I have learned the sport from yourself, from Mark, there's other folks on Twitter and who just shared things, right? Just shared like little watch this documentary, look up Sidney Crosby Edgeworth, learn about ref calls. I went to one Canes game and all I did was pay attention to the ref calls, and I took video of every ref call, came home and went to YouTube it to learn about, because I still want to learn about the rules. So I definitely appreciate that encouragement. And just the tips that folks, I know I'm coming in as a newbie. I don't want to take anything from anybody. I'm just trying to enjoy hockey in my own kind of way. And I appreciate that encouragement. So yep. So we're going to wrap up the stream tonight, y'all. Thanks for everyone who come in and come out. Thank you again, Matt, for being comfortable enough to come up here and share your thoughts. If you all found this encouraging or just interesting, if you could leave either a comment below, or a comment on Twitter, or a comment on TikTok. Who knows, maybe when the draft comes around, or when the new season come around, maybe I'll do another stream like this. If there's interest, there may not be interest, and that's fine. I enjoy talking about hockey. I may not know a lot about it yet, but I am having a lot of fun learning about hockey, and I'm having a lot of fun actually talking about hockey. I didn't expect that. I did not expect that. So I appreciate everyone who sends an encouraging feedback, and also leaves comments, and also who's respectful about it. Because I know I may not always say the right thing or pronounce players' names correctly, but I am trying to learn, and I just appreciate it. So we're going to end the stream, because I do want to get on NHL and watch some of the pregame show and get our snacks ready and things for the house for the game. So y'all, you have a good night, Matt, and everyone else have a good night. If you have not liked the video yet or liked the stream yet, I just ask if you could just like the video on your way out. It really helps. If you have not subscribed to the channel, I just ask if you all could subscribe to the channel, or just share it. Even if you don't want to like or subscribe to the channel, that's fine, because I know sometimes I talk about tech and nursing. That's usually what I talk about. I didn't realize I was going to become a hockey fan, and I didn't realize I was going to love talking about hockey. But if y'all would like to do more of this, I don't want to stop talking about hockey. My current girlfriends and crew, they don't like hockey like I do. So if y'all found this interesting, my contact information will be in the description. If you don't want to leave a comment, you can email me. If you have any suggestions, just say, hey, CNC, I know you're still learning about hockey, or if you think I should do a stream on, I don't know, when the draft starts, or just anything else. I always welcome in feedback, as long as it's respectful. I always welcome feedback, because I'm definitely trying to learn more. So the Stanley Cup Finals puck drop is in like what? Oh, the puck drop is in 62 minutes. Woo! Okay, I got to get out the house and snacks ready and things like that. You're very welcome, y'all. I hope everyone stays safe. I hope everyone has a good evening wherever you're watching the game, the Stanley Cup Finals from. I hope you safe, and just have a good rest of your weekend and a good week. And okay, y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next video.